record on this computer, live on Facebook. See if we can get this to go again. Share in a group. All right.
Did your board say stay away coronavirus?
Yes, the kids made it. All right, I'll title this something later. I didn't think about that. We're just gonna go live and I'm gonna get off Facebook because holy cow, this delay. Anyway.
We're now streaming live.
Okay, so I think we're live. I just text Kyle to be sure. Not sure, but we're just gonna go with it.
It says on my thing we're live on Facebook, so okay. But I know right now the whole world is using the interwebs, so.
Don't say that, we're not jinxing this. I made the boys go outside, so no one is on any Wi-Fi. Okay. All right, so we have people that are logging in. Okay, so I'm gonna get off of the Facebook because the delay is crazy. I'm gonna start this by asking the leaders. So Amanda, Amelia, hold on, let me do this. Jerry, Kyle, the leaders in the group, if you guys can text me questions, that way I'm not paying attention to the Facebook page because it'll be, the delay is crazy. So if you guys have any questions or you see questions coming through that I don't know, maybe we'll open it up for a Q&A afterwards, depending on how this goes, we shall see. But if you guys can text them to me, for those of you who have my phone number, because I will not be reading the comments. All right, let's get started. So we are recording. First, I just kind of wanted to introduce Jessica. So for those of you who don't know Jessica, this is my very best friend in the whole world. Her name is Jessica Sampson now. She just got married. Congratulations. I have known her since I was about 14 years old. And let me just start by saying she's amazing. But I wanted to go into a little bit of, so Jessica has been my very best friend for a very long time and has always helped me with a lot of my own mindset, has been there through the hardest times and the most amazing times in my life. Whereas, you know, she was my maid of honor in my wedding, and then, you know, going through all my kids. She's the godmother of my boys. She calls them her nephews. So she's in a very important role in my life. And I'm telling you this because I think sometimes we can not more or less, we don't sometimes see the value in the things that we have. And what I mean by that is Jess and I talk on a daily basis, but a lot of times she'll help me work through my mindset on a lot of things. Last year when my mom passed away, she was the one getting me out of the hospital or the nursing, whatever it was, hospice, and saying, Christy, here's coffee, let's go outside. And the one that was always knowing what it is that I needed in those moments when I myself didn't need it. And again, the reason I'm telling you this is I kind of just always thought that I was special and it was just me. Like she always knew what I needed, right? Because we had been friends for so long. But as she's developed into this coaching role, and what I've learned is that she really has this really good knack as to knowing what everybody kind of needs in the moments that they're in, whatever place they're in their lives. So I thought it would be really good if we kind of brought her on today to kind of talk to our group, our team, with everything that's going on. And I know a lot of us are transitioning from, you know, some of us had already worked from home. Some of us have businesses that are now working from home in addition to homeschooling our kids and all of the things, right? Like we have a lot of different kind of shifts that have gone on in our lives, and it's affected our mindset. So Jess, I will kind of hand it over to you here briefly, but she has her MBA, and what were you, like 21 or something? As I was graduating with an associate's degree, like you already had your master's, has always been a go-getter. Went to Thailand for a few years and ended up being a personal trainer and a coach there. And I think when you came back, anyway, I'll kind of lead it off to you and you can kind of give your credentials and kind of what brought you into this space that you're in. But I wanted to share a story real quick before I handed it over. So Jessica's, I don't know, we had like a girls trip in January, and this is really where I learned like, oh, I'm not special. She really knows what everyone needs to hear. Is I'm listening to her on a coaching call, and she's coaching one of her clients. And I heard the words, well, this time's going to be different. You won't, I forget exactly what your words were, but I was like, oh my gosh. She was coaching this person who was wanting help with fitness and nutrition on the fact that this person had failed before and had done all the things. And, you know, maybe her mindset wasn't in the right place of like, this is just going to be another one of those things. I'm not going to be successful. And hearing her coach someone else in that moment, in saying exactly what I feel like that person needed to hear. And I don't know who this person was, but it just kind of, my ears perked up and I turned to her and I was like, holy crap, like she's really good at knowing what people need to hear in that moment. So anyway, I'm going to stop rambling. I'll shut up and I'll kind of hand it over to Jess. But Jess, will you just kind of start off by letting us know kind of like your history and, you know, I know that, I mean, you had a corporate America job and it kind of shifted when some life circumstances happened. So I don't want to get into your story too much. I'd rather you tell that. And then I'll kind of ask you some questions.
Sure. So I am a former Fortune 200 sales executive. So I ran a $100 million sales team from home. So I have a lot of background in working from home for 10 years. And I got burnt out on that. And I quit my job and moved to Thailand and traveled all throughout Asia for about 2 years and obviously left sort of the corporate world behind and sort of fell into coaching and personal training while I was there because you can do whatever you want in Thailand. And while I was there, it was great. I traveled, I learned a lot. I found out that I'm actually really good at helping people and teaching them about fitness and how to live healthier lives and things like that. And I really found a passion for it. And then fast forward, I moved back to the States and actually went back into corporate America for a very short period of time and was instantly miserable. And then I found out I had cancer. And so obviously everything kind of hit the fan. And as I was going through that, I sort of reverted to some of my old coping mechanisms of eating and drinking and things that I used in corporate America. So I'm no stranger to yo-yo dieting and emotional eating and things like that. And so when I was going through cancer, what I always like to say is like, a glass of wine or some cookies might help you at the end of a bad day at work, but there's not enough wine in the world for the pain and the fear of having cancer. And so I had to find a new coping mechanism. And so exercise had always been a way to manage my weight and to manage my stress. And what I found was that exercise and nutrition and even working on my mindset, so adding in things like meditating and getting sunshine and journaling and things like that, they were really the things that propelled me to become stronger and actually capable and willing to fight and not become a victim and actually really like thrive through that situation. So obviously I'm healthy now, Christy, you know that. So I'm healthy and I'm happy and I'm actually in a place of gratitude for what I went through because it led me to completely leaving corporate America forever and starting my coaching business. And so now I actually coach other women on how to go from sort of surviving to thriving. And I do that using sort of a mind-body approach. So I think they go hand in hand. So yeah, so that's what I do now.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. And so for those of you, I'm just gonna, for those of you that don't know Jess, please go find her on Facebook. Her story, she has a really good way of putting things into a great perspective. And there's this story that she shares, and I know it's not your original story, but it's about being chased by a mountain lion. And it's about her journey, so to speak, just the beginning part of it with cancer and everyone congratulating her on you know, battling this mountain lion, but it's something that she didn't choose, right? Like you didn't want this mountain lion. You had no choice. Like people are congratulating you on it. And the whole time you're like, I had no choice. I had to fight this battle. And I think that that's maybe, and I hate, we're nowhere near any of us are facing, I mean, I don't know what people are going through in their personal struggles, but I don't feel like any of us can compare what the world is going through right now to the idea or the concept of being in your early 30s, engaged, and all of a sudden being diagnosed with such an awful, awful, ugly C word. You know, I am no stranger to cancer, even though I haven't personally had that diagnosis. It's affected my life in a big way. I've lost both my parents to cancer, my sister, my very best friend, who's Jessica, and you all are meeting her now. So it is no stranger to that C word. But Jessica has a very good approach, and again, it's all about mindset. So I don't want to ramble too much, but Jess, can you help us a little bit? I just, you know, I wanted to bring you on here, and I know that we're going to talk about keeping nutrition on point and maybe working out at home and things like that to kind of help us as we're all quarantined. But what would you say mindset wise? Because there are so many people out here right now that are watching social media and they're getting scared and they're I don't want to downplay the severity of what our world is facing right now, but is there anything that I know you mentioned meditation and journaling, is there anything that you personally would suggest or that you go through when you're helping someone with maybe a really stressful time, like what a lot of us are going through right now?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of things, but I think the most basic ones are to, number one, stay off of social media, which I know is hard, but set a limit on it. That would be the first thing that I would advise everyone to do is set some time on it. But beyond that, consciously plan.
Sorry, Molly wanted to say.
Consciously plan some joy into your life. So consciously plan time with your families, walks, and whatever, go to the park, whatever crafts you like to do, things that you really enjoy, maybe a favorite recipe. So consciously plan those things into every single piece of your day. Also make time for gratitude. And gratitude is such a buzzword right now. There's a difference between writing gratitude and feeling gratitude. And so feeling gratitude is really finding small blessings in everything. And then meditating is great. It's not for everyone. If you'd like to try meditating, I recommend an app called Insight Timer. So there's a whole bunch of different meditations and different guided things and lots of different voices and different things. So I would recommend that. Those are some of sort of like the most basic things. And then the last thing that I like to teach my clients is to realize that you are in control of how you feel. So you're not in control of anything that's happening outside of you, but control what you can control. Manage your stress, go for walks, take a bath, self-care, time away, cooking, all those things are things you can control. So just like you don't worry if the sun is going to come up tomorrow, which it would suck, it would be really bad, like really, really bad, right? You can't like waste a lot of energy on this. So realize that you are actually in control of how you feel. You are in charge of creating your own happiness. And so that's really the biggest mindset shift that has to happen is like, this is what you make of it. And it stinks for everybody, but it's what you make of it. So to control what you can control, plan that happiness, do things that make you happy, spend time with your family, find gratitude in the littlest, tiniest things.
I love that. I love that. And I was actually talking to someone today. I don't know if Tony's on here or not, but we were talking about to control the controllable, to, things that you can actually control, focus where you can influence and focus on those things, because there's so much uncertainty right now that, being certain and focusing in that area, I think is important. All right. So you mentioned planning a little bit. What would you say? And I'm just going to ask you this because I know that that sometimes I talk to you when it's 6 p.m. and I haven't showered yet or even eaten whatever else, and you'll yell at me in your lovely way. But what would you say, and how would you, I guess, recommend that a lot of us start planning our days out? I know that working from home, for those of you that aren't used to it, when you're not on someone else's time clock or on a schedule, so to speak, it's, what did my dad always say, Jess? If you want something done, ask a busy man.
Ask a busy man.
So scheduling that time, I feel is important for me, and I know that that's something that you and I talk about often. What would you suggest for people as far as planning goes?
So I think it's really important to have a plan, but not one that's so rigid that if you don't stick to it, you're going to get frustrated, because that sets you up for disappointment. And so what I usually encourage people to do is like to sort of reduce the decision fatigue. So if you think about it, right, like you're home, you're running a business, you've got 3 boys, you've got Joe at home probably being annoying, you've got Molly, like, right, you've got a lot of things going on. And so you're making decisions all day. From the moment you wake up, you've got decisions to make. And decision fatigue is a real thing, and it causes people to be like paralyzed. It's like the Cheesecake Factory menu. There's so many choices. You I can't even choose what to eat, right? And so the more you can reduce that decision fatigue, the more you're going to be set up for success. And so pick your non-negotiables. So for me, in the morning, my non-negotiables are I wake up, I take care of my dog, and then I journal, I do my gratitude, and I meditate. That is a non-negotiable for me in the morning, no matter what happens. I schedule it into my day. I wake up at a certain time, and I do that from 7 to 8. The other things that are non-negotiables for me are exercise time, right? And so for me, I usually do that before lunch. And so I really have these blocks of time. So again, it doesn't have to be planned down to the minute, but you want to actually schedule things into your day that are non-negotiables, and then you'll find other chunks. So like, okay, what am I going to do from 8 to 10? Well, I'm going to work on my business. So I'm going to do marketing or things like that. Or if I have client calls and stuff like that. So take your non-negotiables and schedule them into your day. And really, like, I literally print out a paper calendar Monday through Friday, and I do chunks of time. So I'm not a fan of planning down to the minute, because if things happen and they throw you off plan, it causes anxiety for some people. And we don't want to do that, right? You want to set yourself up for success. So just get like sort of those chunks. And so again, don't forget at night to plan time for joy and for happiness. And so for me, that looks like Mike and I, that's my husband, taking our dog for a walk around the block in her wagon. She only has 3 legs. So we have dinner together and then we go for a walk together, and things like that. So definitely planning is super important. Again, decision fatigue is a very, very, very real thing. And so if you find yourself paralyzed with too much time, it's because you have too many choices. So don't give yourself that many options.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so another thing I wanted to talk about is I think a lot of us, I'm just going to use me as an example, can sometimes be almost overly focused on things. And what I mean by this is when there's so much chaos going on around me, like the pandemic and everything else that we're going into right now, sometimes I can dive so far into business that it's the only thing I can want to focus on. I don't want to focus on anything else, right? So I feel like in your experience with you having this cancer diagnosis and having this cancer diagnosis and all of the things, you really put your time and attention and effort into something healthy, which is fitness and exercise, not only for yourself, but helping others with that as well. So what would you recommend as far as like maybe healthy options or choices, fitness wise, or things that you can do at home for people that maybe are feeling stressed out? And instead of, like you were mentioning, focusing on all the other things, what are some good kind of coping mechanisms, I guess, as far as like, go ahead. Exercise.
So one of the best things that I recommend to my clients, whether it's pandemic or not pandemic, whether you're locked at home or you're not, is this idea of making a list of things that make you happy. Not in my head list, like literally write them down. And if you have kids, actually doing it with your family. So I don't have anything on my refrigerator except for a whiteboard, and we call it the cool shit planner. And
cool what? Wait, what?
The cool shit planner.
Okay.
That's just what we call it. That's its name.
All right. Sorry for those of you, the language.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay.
It wasn't that bad of a word. So that's what's on, and it's just a list of things that make us happy. And so pre-quarantine, it had things like go to Busch Gardens, or go fishing, or go paddleboarding in a new place, go kayaking with the manatees. It's just things. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter what's on your list. Your list doesn't have to be my list. So during this time, right, we've had to make a new list of things. So think of things that you've always wanted to learn or you've always wanted to do. It could be like a makeup tutorial on YouTube. It could be like learning to count to 10 in Chinese. It could be like puzzles. I love doing puzzles. They're very meditative. I have clients who love coloring. So things like that, and don't judge them. Let them be what they are, and put time in your day to make them happen. So that's a big one. And that's something I always, always, always teach my clients. You have got to plan joy into your life. Consciously plan it. Otherwise, life will just keep passing you by. The other thing is go outside and sit in the sunshine without your phone, even if it's just for 10 minutes. Vitamin D is great for you. It boosts energy. It's good for your immune system, which we all need right now, without your cell phone. Look at the birds, the butterflies, the flowers. Say hi to your neighbors from 6 feet away, whatever it is. Go out, go for a walk around the block, get yourself some fresh air and some sunshine. It's huge, huge, huge for your mood, for sure.
Love it. All right, nutrition. Let's talk about food. Now, I know my food choices always aren't the best, especially when I'm tired, when I'm stressed, when I'm in a pandemic, when I'm home, when I'm bored, like all of the things, right? So what are some healthier options that you would suggest, and how, I guess we should start with, how big does nutrition play a part in our mental, I guess, cognitivity and all of the things, right? When stress and things like that.
So your brain uses more than half of the food that you eat. So your brain uses a lot of energy. So whatever you're putting into your body is what you're going to get out of your body. And food is linked to depression. It's linked to a whole bunch of things. In addition, I forget what I was just going to say. You said something about, I just completely lost my train of thought.
I don't know, I read a lot.
Yeah, anyways, this idea of when you're stressed and when you're anxious, when you're tired. So there's actually chemical reactions that happen inside of your body where stress, it actually produces cortisol, which acts like a steroid. So if you've ever taken steroids, you know what happens. You get really hungry and you want to eat a lot. So stress actually does the same thing inside your body. And so you actually have chemical reactions that increase your hunger hormone. And so finding ways to manage stress is super, super, super important, not just for your mind, but also for your body, especially if you're trying to avoid the quarantine 15 that everyone's talking about. So first of all, it's helpful to know that there are physiological things happening inside your body. So give yourself some grace, because if you're like, why am I so hungry? Part of it's going to be because you're bored, but part of it is if you're stressed, your body is responding with fight or flight. And so that's what it's searching for. So that's the first thing. The second thing I would advise almost everyone to do is to eat more meals. Like eat until you're freaking full. Like eat. Okay. It's going to help you to avoid snacking, because you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm really full. And you're not going to want the cookies because you're going to be really full. Or you're only going to be able to have like one cookie because you're full, right? The other thing is when you're eating actual meals that are full of nutrition, so vegetables, proteins, things like that, your body is not searching for nutrition. So a lot of times sugar cravings are just your body searching for nutrition. So it's the same reason, like you couldn't eat a dozen eggs, but you could definitely eat a dozen cookies. I could definitely eat a dozen cookies. Right? And they have about the same number of calories in them, but eggs have a lot of micronutrients, so your body's not searching for nutrition. So if you're going to eat junk food, eat real food first, because you'll eat less junk food. That's the first thing I would tell everyone to do. Literally plan to eat at least 3 like big solid meals full of protein every day. The other thing is to have some healthy snacks ready. So how many times have you bought vegetables and then 2 weeks later, you're like, it's still in the bag from Publix, and you throw it in the trash? Yeah. Everybody does it. I've done it. We all do it, right? So when vegetables come home at our house from the store, they don't get put away until they're ready to eat, in whatever form that is. So if I'm putting it in a salad or slicing up cucumbers, or I need to cut up a zucchini or a squash or whatever, it doesn't get put away until it's ready to eat. So put it in the Tupperware with a paper towel to absorb the moisture, and it'll last in there. So everything is ready to eat. Things like cucumbers and carrots. You could make ranch, hummus, Greek yogurt with berries. Wash your berries, put them in a bowl so they're like in front of your face. Like if you open my fridge, there's a bowl of strawberries, blueberries, and blackberries. So Greek yogurt with berries. You can also buy lunch meat and just have like a lunch meat and cheese roll up. Get some healthy crackers and have that with like a low fat string cheese, something like that. All those are really, really good options. And then have that. If you still want a cookie, have a cookie afterwards. But that way you're at least getting some nutrition and you're less likely to eat 12 cookies. Does that make sense?
It does. And that's something that I practice as well. I know that in our home, like when we bring produce home, either whether it be from Publix, the farmer's market, or whatever, it gets washed, it gets destemmed, it gets ready to consume. Because if that's ready to grab and go, my kids and myself aren't grabbing for the chips and for the things that, I don't know, for me personally, if I have to wash something, it's like that extra step. It's like too much. I'd rather open a bag of chips.
It's just a mindset thing, right? We act like it's like this big ordeal to slice a cucumber, and it's like it takes 2 seconds. Right. But if you just do it all at once, number one, you have less dishes because you can do that all on the same cutting board. And then like it's done. And like you said, it's ready to go. And so like a lot of times it's not like we don't want to eat the healthy food. We're just being a little lazy. And it happens to everybody. So
so we have these like reusable sandwich bags that are made out of cloth, so they're not like plastic or whatnot, and I'll put like grapes and stuff in them like already, so they're already like prepared for the boys to grab, and me as well.
Yeah.
All right, a couple more things, and I know that this is getting kind of lengthy, but what would you suggest as far as, so I know that we talked about maybe focusing on fitness or some healthy things instead of stressful things or getting off social media or whatnot. I know that one thing that you suggested to me really, really helped, which is establishing a workspace. And for me, my bedroom, as you guys can see, it is my bedroom, it is my office, it is my workout room, it is sometimes Finn's bedroom as well. It is the movie room at night. The boys all pile in my bed and we watch movies together. Like it's the hub of our house. And yes, half of it's under construction and whatnot, so it kind of has to be. But something that really helped me is I designated a little area, right, with my weights and my yoga mat and my stuff. So when I needed to work out, it was kind of ready to go. So what would you suggest as far as like that goes?
Yeah, just like establishing a routine, establishing like areas and having them all set up is a really good behavior to follow because it's kind of there for you. So workspace is super important. You can see I have a workspace, and actually back there on the other side of it is my gym. which actually just got moved onto my porch. My husband's working out at home now too, and I don't want him sweating in my office.
No, men's
But actually having your stuff out, laid out, ready to go in an area is really important. And then beyond that, keeping it nice and neat and clean. So that you realize it or not, like a lot of times clutter adds clutter in your mind. And so trying to keep it organized and try to keep it neat and try to keep it clear is really important. So if you find yourself working at home and you're going to be working at home for a while, dedicate a workspace, whatever that looks like, whatever you need to set it up. And also just, it puts you in the right mindset for work. So I've worked from home basically my whole life. And so it's important. So like I can't go sit at the kitchen table and work because then I'm not in like work mode. I'm in like eating mode, right? So if you're sitting at your kitchen table and you wonder why you want to eat, it's like, well, that's where you eat, right? And so the same thing with a workout space, right? You go out there and your mind, right? You can train your mind to get into like that zone. Just like with like a warm up, right? When you do a warm up, you're training your mind and your body like, okay, we're going to exercise now. And so you're really just training the habits in your mind because ultimately like we really like routine. We're all just big kids at heart. And so the more you can practice these things and really just train your mind, your brain will get into that zone and get into that mode and it'll really help you like get and stay more motivated.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's like when I step foot into the gym, it's like my brain's like, all right, we're going to work out. Like I can almost feel the endorphins, whether I've taken pre-workout or not. And it seems like it's that way lately since I've been working out at home as well. When I get into that area in my house, it's like, okay, we're going to work out now. We're going to do this.
Yeah.
I love it. All right. What else? Is there anything else that you wanted to add? I know I asked you kind of a ton of questions. Suggestions. I know that you've worked from home forever.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest ones are like, yeah, just try to reduce decision fatigue, right? Like, give yourself a schedule, pick those non-negotiables. So whatever is like literally non-negotiable, like brushing your teeth in the morning is probably not negotiable for you.
No.
Right. And so, and just like brushing your teeth, like build them into your day, build yourself a routine. Like we're all big kids at heart and you can train yourself to get into a really solid new routine. The other thing that's really good is a bedtime routine. So morning routines and bedtime routines I'm really big on. And then workout routines, obviously. So I think the biggest one is that the more ways you can reduce decision fatigue and really just set yourself up and not expect yourself to just be able to adapt to this new environment, especially with all this stress. It's really like set yourself up for success. And that requires a little bit of planning. And if you actually just invest your time in that planning, you'll be so much more productive and actually less stress because you're making less decisions and less chaos. And then you feel like you have some control. That's really the biggest one. And then like you talked about just trying to get as much real whole foods as you can. Like I get it, there's lots of snacks, the kids are home, but try to also try to nourish your body first.
There's plenty of produce right now. No one's taking it from the grocery store.
I have a fridge full of produce. I have a ton of produce. I'm having steak and asparagus is being grilled for me right now.
Nice.
So there's definitely healthy food in the store. There's plenty of it available. So and then after you have that, then eat the dessert or the cookie, right? But give yourself the nutrition first because your brain really needs that.
I love it. Love it.
Yeah, and then practice some stress management, right? There's things you can control and there's things you can do. So get out a piece of paper, start making the list. Maybe make one with your kids, maybe make one with your spouse, like whatever that looks like, and don't judge it. Like just get creative, put whatever you want on there. And that's a game changer for my clients, honestly.
So I planted a garden, which is so funny because I used to have one a long time ago, but I have little rose bushes and stuff in the corner, like of the yard where the boys don't play and the dog doesn't ever go. And it's kind of like my area. And I've been going out there every day in the sun in like shorts and a sports bra. And I'm like tending to my garden, which seems, I don't know. Originally I was like, this is so silly because it just seemed like I'm 35 and I have I'm gardening like an old lady would, but it really has been helping me like I keep my phone inside and I go outside for the last like 10 days or whatnot. And it's my like 30 minutes where there's no one's bothering me. I don't even think anyone knows where I'm at. And I just kind of am in that area. So
it's almost like meditative, right? Because you're not thinking about other things because it's something that really brings you joy. Right. And that's like, don't judge it.
Like an old lady.
Don't judge it. I have clients in their 30s that are like, I knit. And I'm like, great, that's wonderful. Great. Like if that's your thing, that's your thing, right? So you don't judge it like at all. That's the biggest like no, don't judge yourself for it. You're you do you. But yeah, something like that. Like that's something it brings you joy. And like the reality is sometimes you're gonna try something, this is amazing. You're gonna be like, I don't want to do that again. But that's how you find out new things. It's good for your brain too. It's really, really good for your brain, which helps with stress. So that's awesome.
Love it. Thank you so much. For those that would like to follow her, I'm sure I'm sure you wouldn't mind, right? You'll probably.
Yeah, I post lots and lots and lots of stuff on my Facebook page. So
Yeah, yeah.
lots of lives, lots of free stuff, free workouts, nutrition, stress management, my dog, like whatever. But there's lots of stuff. Yeah, there's lots of stuff on there. So yeah, if you guys, I post most of it on my personal profile. So if you want access to that, obviously you can just find me.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting too. Like, there's so many personal. So just a little bit about your back. So you have personal training. You're certified in nutrition. You have your master's in business. Lots of kind of credentials, so to speak. But there are a lot of people out there as far as like personal trainers go, which will post workouts and things like that. And not that you don't, and I think it's great. But there's so many other things where I think, and not just because you're my friend, but I think that you really helped me personally with a lot of the things on mindset, which is why I wanted you to talk to kind of the team today, because I know that there was one video you posted and you're like, if you're opening your refrigerator and you wouldn't eat grilled chicken or salad, then you're not hungry. And I was like, oh man. And like every time I open my fridge now, I think of that. Like, am I hungry or am I bored? Would I eat a piece of grilled chicken right now? No. So anyway, I don't know. Just a lot of the things that you say and some of the things that you post really kind of resonate with me. So anyway, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, I will end this. I think I recorded it. Hopefully it's on Facebook Live. I don't know. This is my first Zoom live broadcast.
We'll
so
see. If not, it's recorded and you can post it later.
There we go. All right. Thank you again.
Thank you. I'll talk to you later.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.